Hi, second graders. Today's skills lesson we're going to be looking at together is Unit 5, Lesson 24. We are going to review subject and predicate a little bit at the beginning. We're going to talk about sorting sounds with a tricky spelling o-consonant-e. And we're going to be reading the story called Revenge. So who can remember what are the names of the two parts needed to make a complete sentence? This is stretching back a little bit. We have to have a subject and a predicate. So remember, subject plus predicate equals a complete sentence. And when we write, we have to make sure we're writing in complete sentences. Which part of speech is usually used as the subject of a sentence? The subject is usually made up of a noun. So it's the who or what the sentence is about. Okay, which part of speech is usually used for the predicate of a sentence? Thinking, what's happening in the sentence? That would be our verb. So our verb is typically the predicate of a sentence. So you are going to continue reviewing these. Subject and predicate are something that won't go away. You're going to continue to practice it. But remember, in a sentence that says, I ate flaming hot Cheetos, my subject would be I, and my predicate, or what's happening in the sentence, would be ate flaming hot Cheetos. Okay? Typically, your predicate includes the verb, and then the rest of the description that surrounds the verb. Okay? So remember, our focus for Unit 5 is on vowel sounds and their spellings. We've practiced lots of them already, but today we're going to talk about the spelling for o-consonant-e. Now, the very first sound that we made for o-consonant-e was O, right? We talked about it being a magic E. But then we also learned that sometimes o-consonant-e makes the sound. And you already know both of these sounds, but we're going to practice reading some of these words on the next slide. Okay, this word says love. Good. So this makes the sound. Notice they all have o-consonant-e. Okay, love makes the sound. What does this word say? Some. Good. Some makes the sound. How about this one? This one says home. Good. Home makes the O sound. That's a magic E. Pinches the O and makes him say O. This word says come. Come makes the sound. And this one says stone. Good. Stone makes the O sound. That's our magic E as well. Remember that if a spelling can be pronounced more than one way, we would say that it's a tricky spelling. So that o-consonant-e is a tricky spelling because sometimes it says O, sometimes it says If you see an unfamiliar word that uses the o-consonant-e spelling, you should first try pronouncing it as O, right? Our magic E sound that would make it say O. And if that doesn't sound right in context, then you can flip it and try Okay, so try O first. That's the most common. If O doesn't work, you can flip it to Okay, you will be practicing questions from 24.1 in your workbook on your Google form today. So what we did is we took questions from 24.1 and you will be sorting them on your Google form as well. Next, we're going to talk about the next story in Sir Gus, and it's called Revenge. Okay, the word revenge means when someone tries to punish a person who's done something bad to them. So if you can think back in our last story, something bad happened to King Alfred, and King Alfred is not happy. What happened to him? Yeah, King Henry and the wizard and his knights put everyone to sleep, and they tried to capture King Alfred, and he was going to try and take over his kingdom. So King Alfred wants revenge on King Henry. Good, good. So think about who else might he want revenge on? Mostly King Henry, but what about the wizard? What about King Henry's Black Knight? Right? He's going to look for revenge on them. So King Alfred is seeking revenge on King Henry because King Henry betrayed King Alfred. So today's story is about King Alfred and the revenge that he is seeking. Okay? Some of the spellings that we will come to using the letter O to make the sound. We have bottom, front, month, reason. We also have our schwa sound using the letter A. Remember, schwa says So we have agreed, assist, and important, right? I love that sound. And then we have the letters GE that make the J sound, right? Remember we practiced edge a couple weeks ago, or last week, I think. So this is revenge and large. Good. Vocabulary that we're going to find in today's story. The first one is strike back. If you are striking back, in this case, they're talking about seeking revenge. The next one says treason. Now notice it looks like the word reason with a T in the front of it. Treason is the act of trying to take over or betray your own kingdom or government, okay? And the last word on this slide says eagerly. If someone does something eagerly, it means they're doing it very excitedly, okay? Looks like I'm missing a couple of vocabulary words. You're also going to come to serve you. So when you hear serve you in the story, it means used with royalty to do whatever is asked. So if a king or a queen asks you to do something, you can say, it's my pleasure to serve you, right? And then assist uses a schwa sound. That means to help somebody, okay? So you are going to read revenge on your own inside your Google form, and then you have some questions to answer about it as well. And I want you to read the story and find out how King Alfred is planning to seek his revenge against King Henry. I want you to pay close attention to what job, if any, does Sir Gus have in this revenge, okay? Questions from 24.2 are also in your Google form. And remember, you need to make sure you're practicing for your spelling test. You do test out tomorrow for these words. Remember, you have EL endings, you have LE endings, and you have TION endings. And your tricky word this week is the schwa word. Okay, we know how to make the sound, but I want you to be able to spell the word too. All right? We talked a little bit about subject and predicate. We're going to continue to practice that. That's kind of a tricky concept to pick up. We talked about how spellings that use o-consonant-e sometimes say o and sometimes say And then you are going to be reading the story Revenge on your own. If you take a quick peek at lesson 24, you're going to sort these words. Does the word home say o and then hope, or as in done? You're going to select which sound the letter O makes. Then you're going to read revenge. It's only 4 pages long. And then you have a few questions to answer about revenge before you submit. Okay? So that is all for today's lesson. Make sure you're practicing your spelling words before tomorrow, and we will see you for tomorrow's lesson.